Hi Flosstube, I'm Rachel Stitchy Rach here on Flosstube and also on Instagram. It is Friday the 5th of November and this is a YouTube channel about cross stitch. Hi everyone, welcome back if you're one of my subscribers and very big welcome if it's your first time here. I hope you'll stick around and see what I have to show. And thank you so much for sticking with me if you are one of my subscribers. It's been so long since I recorded Flosstube. I went back and had a look at my last video today, which was on the 26th of August. So I've been gone for over 2 months now. No massive real reason, no kind of drama or anything. Just the kids went back to school and I thought I'll be able to get properly back on my weekly schedule. It'll all be fine. And life just got super busy. And it wasn't one thing, it was just lots of little things. And I've spent the last 2 months running here, there and everywhere. And it's just been busy. But things are calming down. Although I did try and film this once already today and then got interrupted. So second time's the charm, I hope. And I hope to be back to a more regular schedule now. So yeah, it's good to be back. I think this might be a bit all over the place because it's so long since I've done it. It almost feels like it's my first time. And I'm not going to go through the regular categories so much. I have some whips to show you. I have a finish to show you. I have, unsurprisingly, no FFOs to show you, but if you've been here before, you know you don't come here for the FFO action. I've got some knitting because last time I filmed, I talked about my knitting and a few of you were kind enough to say that you would like to see it. I'm not going to show any haul, partly because I've really reduced my spending on cross stitch stuff since I last saw you, but also so there hasn't been very much, and what I have is now kind of put away because it's been so long I couldn't keep big piles of things lying around. I have also been getting lots of lovely floss drops through the post, but I am not organised enough to show those to you today, the ones I've got. And I thought if I tried to do that before I film this, then I just never film this. So I just wanted to get this done, and then maybe for next week or the week after, I'll show the floss drops I've got through the Great Floss Drop Trade. If you're not familiar with that, that is the innovation of Michelle, Mama Loves You GB on YouTube, and she explains all about it on her Instagram and her Flosstube. So I will show those next week or the week after. And I also still owe a few people floss drops. So if you're watching this and I said I'll trade with you and I haven't yet, I haven't forgotten you, I know I owe you floss drops, they will be coming and I'll try and get them parcelled up this weekend. But it's also bonfire night. I love bonfire nights. It's 5th of November here today. I am going to bonfire night party at my neighbour's house tonight, and then we're going to the school bonfire night tomorrow night. I just love this time of year. I always loved bonfire night as a kid. Halloween, when I was a kid, wasn't really big over here, and that's getting bigger. And between Halloween and bonfire night is my eldest's birthday. So it's all going on at this time of year in my house, and I just love it. For those of you that are not in the UK, the 5th of November is bonfire night, and if you don't know what that is, it's the night we light bonfires and set off fireworks to remember rather bizarre incident in 17th century Britain where what we would now call terrorist called Guy Fawkes had a plot to blow up our Houses of Parliament, and that was foiled. He was a Catholic rebel who wanted England to England. Was we England then? Yeah, that's before the Act of Union. England to return to Protestantism, and so we light bonfires and we set off fireworks to celebrate that his plan was foiled. And that's the main day we set off fireworks in this country. Yeah, so anyway, it's always good fun. So we're going down to our neighbours tonight for a barbecue and some fireworks and a bonfire, and it's going to be great. Looking forward to it. And hopefully you can see, I'm speaking really fast, I'll try and slow down. It's a lovely bright day here today. It's one of those really sunny, crisp autumn days. So it's just lovely. And I think my light's really good for this. It's a good time of day to film, actually. I won't lean too far forward, because if I lean a little bit far forward, I think you just saw it on my hand there, I get in the glare from the window and it's just going to blow everything out. But I'm sat back in the shade and it's actually giving me some really good light. So, wow, sorry for the rather long introduction, but I guess I should show you what I've been doing over the last 2 months. So there is quite a bit to show you, because obviously it's 2 months of stitching, so bear with me. And as I say, I'm out of practice. This may be a bit rambly, but hopefully by next week I'll be back in the swing of it. So I went and watched my last video back this morning because I couldn't actually remember, although I keep a diary of all my stitching, I couldn't actually remember exactly where I was with things when I last filmed. So that's fresh in my mind. So do I want to go in order, or do I want to show you my finishes first? See, I told you I was out of practice. I think I will try and go... No, I'll show you my finishes first. So, since I last saw you, I have had 2 finishes, one little and one big, and they've both been on my Instagram. So if you follow me over on Instagram, you have already seen these. But here we go. So I'll show you the smaller one first, and then I'll show you the bigger one. So my first finish was 2 days ago. The first finish I'm going to show you was 2 days ago, and it was another one, sorry for the crinkle, in my Lizzie Kate Flip It yearbook series. So if you've been here before, you know I've been stitching all these little Lizzie Kate yearbook Flip Its, and the latest one I finished is October. And I have been stitching these in order, so every month to October is now finished. So only November and December to go on this series. And here it is. Can you see that? It's giving me a shadow behind, isn't it? There you go. So this is Lizzie Kate's Flip It Yearbook October. Obviously it's not stitched on the called for fabric, which was this. It's stitched on a purple... Let's get that closer. See that? Or is that just giving you loads of... Let's put something behind it. Purple 28 count Permin linen from... Getting loads of shadow, aren't you? See, I said the light was good, and actually no, it's not. It's just causing loads of problems. There you go. Is that better? 28 count Permin linen in purple from XG Designs, and this came in a spring selection pack, and I've used the selection pack for all the different months, so the different months on different colours. It's stitched in all the called for threads, which are mainly Weeks Dye Works. I have, however, lost the charms for this one and September. They must have fallen out of the bag, and I have had a good look and I can't find them. So I'm going to call it finished for now, and I might see if I can find an appropriate charm somewhere on the internet to replace the charm that I have lost. So that's the first one. It's good to finally be getting to the end of this series as well. I started this series one a day for part of my Stitch Mania 2020. But now all but 2 are finished, so hopefully they will come out and get done before year end, come out and about with me. So that's my first finish. And then my second finish, and I love this, and it's one of the pieces that on my Instagram gets the most comments, and on my Flosstubes had a lot of comments in the past, and it is finished. So on my last Flosstube I showed this, and I said I was hoping to get it finished by the end of September and have it FFO'd for Halloween. That did not happen. I actually finished it, I think on the 27th of October. So it was finished before Halloween, but only just. The last 2 months have been so busy that I do think the stitching has slowed down. I don't think I've got as much stitching done as usual. And it's all wrapped up in these towels because I've even ironed it. Wow, look at me. Look at me ironing. So it is my spooky Halloween piece. I'm really pleased with that. I'm so delighted with how this has turned out. I just love every single thing about it. So let me show it to you. There it is. There is my finish. So this is Spooky Halloween by Doreen Jones, and the chart is exclusive to Lakeside Needlecraft. You can still buy it on their website as a PDF pattern, and you can buy it just as the pattern or as a kit. It was initially a sale, but now it's available as a finished chart. I bought it as a finished chart. I have stitched it in the called for threads, which are DMC, and the colour you can see is DMC glow in the dark. It does glow in the dark a bit, but not as much as I thought, to be honest. But I do love it. It's so kind of neon-y. And then the fabric I've used is not the called for fabric. This is a piece of 32 count Belfast linen in the colour Ember by Crafty Kitten Fabric. Now, Crafty Kitten Fabric do not appear to be trading anymore. I don't know what's going on. I have no information. But their website isn't taking orders, and yeah, they don't seem to be trading at the moment. So I don't think you can get this at the moment, but I'm sure other hand-dyed dyers would have something similar. It's kind of a combination of greys and oranges and white, and I just think it is perfect. I think it just, can I get this close without getting loads of glare? I think it just makes it so moody. If I try not to get glare, this is the problem. Oh, so glary. No, that's not going to work. Okay, I'm just going to hold it back here. I think you get the idea. I want to make this into a drum. You'll know what my finishing ratio is like. It's not great, but I think this will look really fabulous as a drum to display for Halloween, and I am really chuffed to have it finished. I think it took me, as you know, I have lots of whips, so it's never had, you know, be my sole focus of attention, but I think I started this in 2019. Yeah, 2019, and in about June or July. The exact dates are on my Instagram, on my finishes feed if you want to see them. And as I say, I finished it, I think, on the 27th of October. The only change I've made is to the date at the top, because the sale was in 2017. So I changed the date to 2021. But yeah, otherwise as charted, and I absolutely love it. So I hope you've enjoyed seeing that, and seeing that I can iron sometimes when I want to. So they're my two finishes. And yeah, do have to get this one FFO'd, because I would love to have that for next Halloween to display. So there we go with that. So what else have I been working on? I have quite a few whips to show you, because obviously I've been away for a while. I'm just dropping things everywhere. I'm so out of practice. I need to get used to how I set this up. So let's start. I'm going to take these, I think, in the order I stitched them in, because I think that just makes more sense. So last time I saw you, I was stitching on this one, which is, I will show you. Here we go. Real Comfort, a Jane Austen sampler by Modern Folk Embroidery. That glare's getting annoying, isn't it? If it gets too bad, I'll go and close the curtain. This was a Stitch Mania start in 2020, and then hadn't had many days work on it at all, and was on my whip go, is on my whip go for this year for a week stitching. And last time I saw you, I was halfway through that week stitching. But after I saw you, I did a bit more, and this is where I am. So I haven't ironed this one, as you can tell. So last time I saw you, I had just finished that middle house in that row of houses. So since I saw you, I added the final house. Managed to stop the recording there. I didn't mean to. So since I last saw you, I did this house down at this end, and then this branch and these leaves coming up here, and that's 1 week stitching. So I'm pretty pleased with that and the progress I made on it. This is stitched on 40 count antique white with Silks for You silk in the colour PR011, I think is the colour. And you can go back to my last video for why I think that's the colour, and I'm not 100% sure that's the colour. Can I get that closer? Can you see that? Anyway, so that's what I did on that. I keep this in this super cool Pride and Prejudice project bag from Penelope's Pocket. They don't have any more like this, but they have lots of other lovely project bags made by Sarah in the UK. So I'll link her below. I bought the project bag, it's not a gift or anything. Sorry, this bit's got a bit choppy. Yes, so the project bag is from Penelope's Pocket, which I bought, and then more recently, Sarah started doing these floss minders, and because I'd already bought my bag and I said I'd love one for this bag, she gifted that to me, which was super kind of her. And this is my design for the Great Floss Drop trade. So if you haven't contacted me but you would like to trade some Anne Boleyn floss drops for something else, just let me know. But that's in there as well. So yes, so that's where I am on Real Comfort. I don't think that one's going to be coming out again this year, so I think that is probably where this one will end for 2021, but it has had my planned amount of stitching on it, which was a week, which was on my Whip Go board. So that's where that one is. Okay. So after that, and I mentioned this on my last Flosstube video as well, my birthday was coming up. And I was going to do a new start for my birthday, and I was going to have a birthday sale, Rachel's Garden birthday sale, and quite a few of you joined in, which was really lovely actually. So I know Sally, Stitchy Sally joined in, and she's finished hers. Crafting Kirsty joined in, Justine joined in, Sarah from Penelope's Pocket joined in. So it was really nice to have so many people joining in for my birthday. I think everyone has got further with their start for my birthday than I've got with my start for my birthday. But this is life, isn't it? So I will show you where I am with mine. So my birthday new start was Garden Vegetables by Kathy Barrick. If you've been here a while, you will know I have my own vegetable garden and I love it. Although it has been a bit of a mess this year, less said the better. But I have some shallots and garlic that need to go in the ground this weekend. They were meant to go in the ground 2 weekends ago and didn't quite happen. This weekend is going to be it. And my last video was really gloomy. I'm watching it back. I don't think it did any colours of anything, any justice at all. But I have stitched, so I've started that on, oh, I can't remember what the fabric is now. It's 36 count Tobias by Seraphim Fabrics, and this is my ginormous start for my birthday. That is where I am. So I have, if you can see on this chart, it says the vegetable, the depth you need to sew it at, how long to germinate, how many weeks it takes to reach maturity, and the month to sow. And I have just started on this germination column. I'm a middle starter, so I started in the middle, I think on leek, and I've just started filling in this column. So as you can see, there is a long way to go. And if my birthday starts that I've had in the past are anything to go by, this will this one will be with me for several years yet. So that's where I am. And again, I have no plans, I don't think, to work on this one again this year. So this one's going to be put away. Hopefully I'll get to it before my birthday next year. I am stitching this in all the called for needlepoint silks, which are quite difficult to find in the UK, but not impossible. There is a website called West End Embroidery, I think. I will link them below. Excuse me. I will link them below. But if you do want to get your hands on needlepoint silks, they are the supplier that I found in the UK, and that's what it looks like on the fabric. I think it goes really well. Again, I'm having a bit of trouble with the light, but I think the colours are looking a bit nicer than they did on my last drab video. I love that green there. So that's where I got to on that. So thank you for everyone that joined in and used the hashtag. And it's lovely to see all your beautiful finishes for my birthday, while mine, the progress is slow. Let's just say that. The progress is slow. Pop all that away. This I keep in this project bag, which is kind of embroidery of plants and cactuses. And then inside has this nice blue floral pattern. This is from House of Stitch and Stash, Rika King. She makes lovely project bags. They're very squishy, actually. So if you ever get a chance to get your hands on one of her project bags, I would jump on it. And they have a nice carry handle as well. Very well made. Very nice project bags. Okay, so after I had done that, have I left something I need over there? Hold on. Oh no, it's here. It's here. It's on the floor. I pulled out my alphabet sampler. So this is my absolute beast of a project. It's 400 stitches wide by 480 stitches high. And each square is 80 by 80. This is an alphabet sampler I am stitching for one of my children. And it's been on the go, I think, 2.5 years. I think I started this in February 2019. And last time I saw you, I was hoping to reach the halfway mark in September, which I did. So last time I saw you, I was just finishing, or had just finished, maybe I'd just finished R is for Rabbit. Now again, because I'm a middle starter, I haven't stitched these letters consecutively. So just because I had R is for Rabbit doesn't mean that everything prior to that point has been done. So I'd just done R is for Rabbit, or was about to finish R is for Rabbit. And then I said I'm going to come up and do above it M is for Mittens, which is the halfway point. At that point I had 15 of the 30 blocks done. I know there are 26 letters in the alphabet, and then there are 4 corner blocks that are decorative. So at that point I had 15 of the 30 blocks done, and that was halfway. So I was really pleased with that. So since I've seen you, I did that M is for Mittens. And then I moved up a row, again, up 2 rows, 1 row, 2, 1 row, and started and finished D is for Duck. I love that mallard. He is fabulous, isn't he? There. So I'm getting the glare again. You can put it there. Yes, D is for Duck. I finished him in September. And then in October, I hoped to get done E is for Egg and F is for Frog. Well, if you have been following me on my Instagram, you will know that E is for Egg took me the whole month of October. Here is E is for Egg. That egg just nearly killed me. As I said to Kirsty, it was worse than giving birth to my 3 children. I thought this egg was never gonna be finished. It was never gonna come. But it did. I think I actually finished it on the 1st of November. I think it took me more than October. Just. But there it is, and it's done. So obviously I got nowhere near F is for frog, but I did get to E is for egg. So I'm now a little over halfway. I would like to get F is for frog done this year, because if I do, I have 12 blocks left. So if I get that F done, then I've got G and H, the two corners up here, A, B, C, and then X, Y, and Z, and the two corners at the bottom. And in my head, I think, well, if I finish one block a month, every month in 2022, this will be done. And I would love to get this done because it is so big and I love it. I want it to be on the wall. I want to get it finished because I feel some of my other whips that I'd really like to work on, I can't work on until this is done. So I'm now feeling that this piece is becoming a bit of a block, and I would just like to push through and get it done. I should probably tell you a bit about this pattern. It's by Lucy Heaton. It's a PDF download available on her website, which I will link below. It's called Bouncing Babies ABC, and I am stitching it on 36 count white linen with all the called for DMC. Now I'll try and just give you a little run through of it. It's quite big because it's quite difficult because it's so big. But there's D and E, and then I, J, K, and L, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T, U, V, W. And this, I have loved it, and each block is just fantastic and colourful, and I think the pictures are so good, and it reminds me of kind of a retro Ladybird alphabet book. I just really like it. I need it to be done now. I think hopefully some of you know what I'm talking about. You just get to that point with a project, it's just like, I need it to be done. So yeah, my goal, and I'm starting to think about next year goals now. Over the next few weeks, I'll probably do a bit of what my plans are for 2022, because a few things are going around in my head and a few things in the mix. But yeah, I want to get it done. The other thing I'll say about this egg is that it is very confetti heavy. I know some of you will be stitching heids and full coverage and you'll be like, that's tiny. When I do things like this is when I know I am not a full coverage or haid stitcher. Fair play to those of you that are. And I've bought heids, and I have some full coverage patterns that I think, oh yeah, I'll do that. And I never have. And then when I stitch something like that, I'm like, oh no, I'm not. I'm just not a full coverage stitcher. So if I ever get that, I'm going to do a full coverage piece. Just remind me. Just remind me about the egg. It's not for me. As one of my children says that when they don't like something, they go, it's just not for me. It's just not for me. So that's that one. So that has had a lot of my stitching time actually. Most of my evening stitching in September and October was pretty monogamous on this piece. So yeah. So I've done 3 squares on that since I last saw you, and as I say, that has been a lot of my time. That's what I have been doing. That's not in a fancy project bag. It's just in one of these zip up things from Amazon. What I do like about this, because it's PDF, is that when I started, I had all the pages of the pattern in here, and obviously because it's 30 pages, and each square has its own A4 page, so it was quite a thick pattern. And what I do is when I finish a square, we have an open fire, and I take that page and I screw it up in a ball and I throw it in the fire, and I find it quite cathartic. And it also means that the size of the project bag is kind of reducing with every page I finish, so it's really kind of nice motivator. So did that. Then what's down here? What have I got down here? Yes. Then we went away during our children's half term just to stay with my mum and dad for a few days. And I took Spooky Halloween with me, but there wasn't that much left to do. So I was pretty sure I would finish that while we were away, which I did. And I wanted another piece to take with me, to have something to work on when I finished on Spooky Halloween. And at that point I was getting really cheesed off with that egg, to be honest. So I didn't, and it's a big project, and I could do it at my mum and dad's, but I was just like, no, I can't, no. So I actually just went and randomly pulled a project bag off my shelf. So I keep all my project bags just on a bookshelf, and I just yanked one out, which I don't usually do. That's not usually my method for choosing projects, but that's what I did. And I pulled out this, which is Seasons of the Heart Spring by Janine McGowan of The Blue Flower. This was in the, sorry, move out that glare, Punch Needle and Primitive Stitcher 2021 Spring magazine. She has done a heart for each season in this year's Punch Needle and Primitive Stitcher. I'd like to eventually stitch them all, and I'm loving the Christmas edition of Punch Needle and Primitive Stitcher. If you've seen it yet, I have a digital subscription, which I would recommend if you're in the UK. So I've had a look through and picked out some things I would ideally like to stitch. Anyway, so that's what was pulled out to take up to my mum and dad's with me. And this was a Stitch Mania start this year, so it only had 1 day stitching on it, hadn't had loads, and to be honest, my progress isn't super exciting. I started in the top corner. This is a fat quarter, I think. I started in the top corner of the fabric because then if I want to, I have room to do all 4 of the hearts on here. But I've basically just done a bit more of the border and the heart outline. Put that behind it, it's fine. There you go. I am stitching this on a piece of Chromatic Alchemy 32 count Belfast linen in the colour Raven's Core, and it's, let's have a look. That's showing pretty true. It's a pretty kind of mottled bluey grey. Yes, that's kind of where I am. So yeah, just got a bit more of that grey heart done. It's this bit here, this kind of curve. So I'm not very far along with it. I am stitching it in DMC. I don't actually know if it's the called for, if I just pulled what I had in my stash. Let me have a look. No, what I've stitched so far is in the called for. I'm not going to look through and see if literally everything that's in there is the called for. But yeah, I really like this set of patterns. I assume at some point she will release them separately. Most things in Punch Needle and Primitive Stitcher after a year or two are eventually released to the public as general patterns, but yeah, I really like them. I'd like to stitch them all. So worked on that for a couple of days. It might even have just been 1 day actually, because as I say, it was just once I finished Spooky Halloween while I was away. And this one isn't scheduled for any more love either this year, so that one's going away too. And then the final thing I've been working on since I saw you is, I get a lot of questions about this one, is my Peanuts Afghan. So after I finished that never-ending egg, I've gone back to my Peanuts Afghan. I'll show it to you in a second. This is a blanket, an 18 count Afghan blanket that I am stitching for one of my children who is obsessed with Charlie Brown and Snoopy. I've done quite a lot of squares on this year, excuse me. But this is also another one that I want to be a finish in 2022, because I feel this one and the alphabet piece are huge whips. They're both absolutely massive whips. And I just need to get them finished so I can get to some of the other things that I want to stitch. So, I hadn't worked on this one for a while, and I've only been working on it this week. I've done, what day are we on? Friday. I've done 4 days on it, but when I started it on Tuesday night, I stitched everything in the wrong square. So I had to rip out everything I'd stitched that night. Fortunately, I only did about 45 minutes that night, so it wasn't catastrophic, but I had to rip out everything, which is a bit soul destroying. So for 3 nights stitching, and here is where I am. There you go. Which doesn't look like a lot at the moment, but I will show you the pattern. So I am currently stitching this guy. If you can see, there's 3 Snoopies, or 4 Snoopies, I can't count, all with a different coloured background. I'm currently doing the green one. So my plan for this layer of the blanket is to do those colourful block Snoopies in the corners, and then in the 2 spaces in between, because I only fill in alternate squares, stitch a member of the Peanuts gang. So I'll probably put someone like Charlie Brown up here, or Lucy, or Sally, or whoever. So this, during November, I hope to get this done, and then a member of the Peanuts gang either here or down in the vertical. I haven't decided where I'll head first. So that's my plan for this piece. This is a piece of 18 count Zweigart and fabric, which has this kind of check woven in to the cloth, which I quite like. Each block on one of these Afghans is 45 by 45 if stitched over 2. When this is stitched over 2, this makes really big X's. Let's see if I can show you. Can you see how big they are? I use 4 strands of thread on those panels that I stitch over 2. These things eat thread. I cannot explain how much thread you get through stitching one of these. And if you stitch it over 1, which you can, it's 90 stitches by 90 stitches, obviously. I am using patterns mainly from some retro leisure arts pamphlets, which are out of print. I have 5 or 6 of these that I bought from eBay, and they do come up on eBay, so you can put in a search on eBay if this is interesting to you. The other place I got some of the designs on this Afghan is from, sorry, I'm just digging in the project bag. It's from this book, Peanuts Cross Stitch. And this is still widely available. I think it's still in print. I think you can get it on Amazon, things like that. And then recently, I haven't used them, but a company called Stitch and Story that I have bought knitting kits from in the past have just released a set of their first set of cross stitch kits, and they have some peanut ones as well. So if you're interested in Snoopy, they do have some Snoopy charts, and I will link them in the description box below. I will caveat that I have never used one of their cross stitch kits. It's just that they do have Snoopy kits if you are interested in stitching Snoopy, because he has been quite hard to find legitimate kits for. Right, shall I try and show you this whole thing? I'm stitching it in DMC. It's all DMC thread. So as I say, I'm now on the outside layer of this blanket. So this will be the final kind of go round, as it were. So this is the first square. The needle minder is Snoopy, and it's actually a keyring, hence the thing in the top. I bought a keyring and then just took all the hardware off the top, and then just stuck a couple of magnets on the back of him. There you go, you can see my back. I do like quite a neat back. I don't think I've ever really shown you my backs. But yeah, I am a bit of a neat back freak. No judgment if you're not, I am. So there you go. And then the next line is Good Grief, and there's Soupy and Woodstock, and I just can't stand it. And then in the middle I have kind of a little kind of almost cartoon strip of Snoopy and Woodstock, and also the Peanuts gang. There you go. Can you see that? With all Snoopy... Right, I'm going to hide behind it, so I have no idea if this is in focus. I'll have to have a look when I edit it. But can you see those 4 pictures that kind of tell a little story of Snoopy and Woodstock on the kennel roof? And over to one side I've got kind of Pilot Snoopy, Air Force Snoopy. And then I've got Snoopy and Woodstock down there. And then right at the bottom, I have got Joe Cool, who is my favourite. I've got Charlie Brown's Sigh. And then perhaps the most random quote you're going to see on YouTube today, or not YouTube, Flosstube today. There you go. You're holding my hand, Chuck, you sly dog. Which there is a long story behind, which I'm not going to tell today. I do tell it in one of my previous videos if you want to go hunt for it, but I will tell it again when I do my whip parade, or perhaps when this is finished, or so if you're interested, or you can DM me if you're really interested. But yeah, perhaps the most random quote you'll see on Flosstube today. You're holding my hand, Chuck, you sly dog. So that's where I am on that, and that is my plans for that. And that is everything I've stitched whilst I haven't seen you. So what else should I talk to you about? I've been rattling on for quite a while. I think it's going to be quite a long one, although I have had to stop a few times, so I've kind of lost track of quite how long it is. What time is it? I must have been prattling on for the best part of an hour, I think. Excuse me. Right, I'm going to talk to you very quickly about some plans, and then I'm going to show you some knitting, and then I'm going to wrap it up. So, plans. As I say, I want to get 2 more squares done on peanuts. So that is a big part of my plans for November. But I have also brought my whip go board. If you're not, see the sun's moved now, and now I'm going to just close the curtain. Bear with me. That's better. It's still a bit of a glare, but so if you are not familiar with Whip Go was a game devised by Jessie Marie of Jessie Marie Does Stuff here on Flosstube. And basically what it is a bingo card that you populate yourself with your projects and your goals for that project for the year. And then each month Jessie Marie draws 2 numbers, and then you stitch on those things. Now, I was doing quite well with mine until Stitch Mania, and then I ended up getting a bit behind and haven't really caught up. But I've brought my Whip Go board to show you and to speak about with you. So here is where I am. Now, everything that's black with white writing is goals I've achieved. The light grey are things that have been called, but I have not completed. The white is what's to be called, and I haven't stitched and I haven't completed. And then this really dark grey down here is a number that is yet to be called, but where I have already completed the goal. So that was my real comfort that I showed you earlier, which was 1 week stitching. So obviously we're in November, so the only month left is December. So I know this white square and real comfort will be called in December. Yeah. I feel quite proud of where I've got to actually with my Whip Go. I know I've got a lot of squares there that I haven't completed my goals on, but I am pretty pleased with where I am. Now, what has been called this month is a block on the Peanuts Afghan. Now, this square here was called a few months ago, and that was a block on the Peanuts Afghan, and this square was called this month, and that's also a block. So if I do my 2 blocks that we've just talked about, both those squares can be blacked out. And then the other thing was over here, which was 1 week stitching on Forever and Ever by Cottage Garden Samplings. So I have that here to show you. I'm sure most of you are familiar with this pattern, it's quite popular. But yeah, so my goal for this month is 1 week on that. So what I think I will do is I'll finish the square I'm on my Peanuts, and then probably do the week stitching on this, and then go back to the Peanuts just to break it up a bit and give myself some variety. But who knows, that may change. If I get really into the groove with the Peanuts, I might just kind of crack on. But this was a Stitch Mania start in 2020, and again hasn't had huge amounts of love, but that is where I am with it. So, you know, still a lot to do. I'm on mainly been focusing on this yellow bird over here. I'm stitching this on, what am I stitching on? That's a really good question. On Picture This Plus, it's 36 count Dapple by Picture This Plus. That is not the called for. The called for is, I think, Tin Roof by Weeks Dye Works. Is that right? Yeah, Tin Roof. But I think that looks really grey, the background. And when I bought a piece of Tin Roof to do it on, and it was really kind of sage green, which wasn't what I wanted at all. So I went for this Dapple to get the grey, which I'm really happy with. I am stitching it in all the called for Weeks Dye Works thread. So that will get a week stitching at some point this month, but hopefully I will be back before that happens, so we can talk about that again. I'll just talk to you a little bit about my Whip Go board. So as I say, I fully expect to get this block blacked out and this block blacked out because they're the Peanuts one. This block over here is Forever and Ever, so I expect to get that blocked out. This block down here is the F is for Frog block on my alphabet. So I think I'll get that blacked out before the end of the year. And then we've got 4 other blocks. So we've got Cardinal Points. I was meant to get a page finish on. Cardinal Points hasn't been out this year, and I think it's highly unlikely that I will get there. So I think that won't happen. This block up here that will be called in December is Village of Hawk Run Hollow, to get another block done on that. And I would love to do that. I would love to get Hawk Run Hollow out. I would love to get that block done. I think it is completely unrealistic that I will get that block done. I think I will get it out and I will perhaps give it a week and see how far I get. But I know what those blocks are like in Hawk Run Hollow, and that also the one I've got is fairly heavily stitched. And I also know what December's like with all the Christmas stuff and, you know, 3 children, Christmas is busy, and so that won't happen. This one down here is 3 French hens. I don't know, for some of you who've been here before, you may remember that I have a Bothy Threads 12 Days of Christmas kit that I am stitching each day of Christmas independently and making them into Christmas tree ornaments. I haven't started the 3 French hens. It was a start and a finish. I might start that in December. I'll see where I am with Peanuts and with the alphabet, but I might start that in December. But I can't see that it'll be a finish, so I don't think that one will be blacked out, which leaves this one up here, which is Fox Forest by Al Forest Embroidery. There's a lot of f's in that sentence. Now, I like to stitch out and about. Those of you that follow me on Instagram will know that I take my stitching to my children's swimming class and dance class, and anything I have to sit and wait, I have some stitching, I take it with me. I was taking Spooky Halloween, which is finished, and on Wednesday, so yeah, 2 days ago, which was the last time I did out and about stitching, I finished the Lizzie Kate October Flip It. So I now need to new out and about stitching. I could carry on with the Lizzie Kate Flip Its, but I've decided I'm going to give Fox Forest a bit of time, partly because of the Whip Go. So the Whip Go goal is to finish this piece. I don't know if that is realistic, but also because we're in November, we're getting towards year end, and this was my new year, new start, and I kind of thought I might finish the year in the same way I started the year, and if I get it finished, so much the better. So this is the piece. This is, if you've ever had an Al Forest embroidery kit, you'll know they come in a box, which you know, it's not that practical, so it's just in a standard bag, but I cut the front off the box, so I've got the picture, so that's why it's on that piece of card. And here is where I am. So I stitched on this for most of January, and I got a reasonable a reasonable amount done. So this is going to become my out and about piece with the hope of finishing it. It'd be lovely if I finished it, but I'm not going to be too upset if I don't. And I'm just going to enjoy stitching on it again, because I don't think I've stitched on it at all since January or February, and I absolutely love it, and I'd love to get it finished and framed and hung up in my house. So that is going to be my out and about stitching. So I may be able to cross that off my Whip Go board as well. So I think by the end of the year, and obviously Real Comfort in this grey, once the 1st of December's here, I'll black that out. So I think I will only have 4 unfinished squares on this board. Annoyingly, because of where they are on the board, neither diagonal will be complete, which is, you know, slightly irritating. But I think I will end up with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I think I'll end up with 6 completed lines between the vertical and the horizontal. So I'm pretty pleased with that. So last year, I think I only finished about 50% of my Whip Go goals. And this year, I think we're going to complete 21 out of 25, which isn't, well, the middle's a free space. So, okay, 20 out of 24. Couldn't do maths then. My brain just completely froze. But I'm pretty happy with that, and I'm definitely going to participate again in Whip Go next year. Although it may just be peanuts and that alphabet, because I want to get them done. So that's my plans for the rest of the month. Peanuts, Forever and Ever, Fox Forest coming out and about, all plans subject to change at my whim, because it's my stitching and it's not a job. Okay, so that is all my stitching. That's everything I've got to show you. That's everything I'm going to talk about stitching wise today, because this has been quite long and I just needed to get back into the swing of doing these. And now I've got glare from that side. Oh, and we need to wrap up because the lighting has gone to pot. The sun is moving. The sun isn't moving, is it? We're moving. Shouldn't be allowed. So the last thing I've got to show you is that I did a bit of knitting. Now, in my last video, I said I just had to FFO a hat and a pumpkin, and I haven't, because it's me and it's FFOing. But what I have done is knit a pair of wrist warmers, and I said I'd just cast them on, and I did one, and then I did the other one, and these are stitched in the round, so they don't need any sewing up, but because it's me and they're stitched in the round, I still haven't woven in my ends. This is how bad I am at FFOing. I only have 2 ends, and it won't take 2 minutes, and I've been wearing them, and I still haven't woven in the ends. I am a bad, bad person. Anyway, I'm really proud of these. These are wrist warmers, and by no means perfect. I am by no means an expert stitcher. There you go. This one went a bit funky. I don't know what I did there. And I showed my mum, who's a really good knitter, and she's like, no, I don't know what you've done there either. It's like I've almost knitted twice. It's really odd. I don't know. Anyway, so these are, let's have a look. I'm no knitting expert, so I hope this makes sense. These are Glory Wrist Warmers by Lisa Richardson. The pattern is available on Etsy. And I've knit these in lay yarn. It's 100% cashmere yarn. It doesn't have a name. It's a colour number 134. And if you're in the UK, this yarn is available on Lovecrafts. I initially bought it from a local yarn shop near me where I saw the pattern, but they don't have any more of this colour. And the pattern has a beanie hat as well, and I'm all in the mood for it now. And I thought, oh yeah, I'll do the hat and get the matching set. So I've bought 2 more balls, and obviously it doesn't matter, it's not the same dye lot because that's the hat and these are the gloves, so it'll be near enough. But yes, Glory Wrist Warmer and Beanie by Lisa Richardson on Ravelry. So that's that pattern. And look at me, I made something, it's wearable, it's still not properly FFO'd because it's me. So what can you do? You can't help some people, can you? And that is literally it. That's everything I've got to show you. I hope to cast on that hat this weekend and have some progress on that. I am trying not to become a multiple whip knitter because there's only so much time in your life, isn't there? And yeah, I would like to whip down the cross stitch as well. So we are where we are. Anyway, thank you for staying with me. If you've managed to stay with me during this extremely long, rambly, not very well planned video, it's lovely to be back. I intend to get back on my weekly schedule. I would really like to get back on my weekly schedule. Thank you so much to everyone who asked me when I was going to film and told me they enjoyed my Flosstubes and they hoped I'd film another. Thank you for encouragement. It's always really nice to feel wanted. We all like to feel wanted, don't we? And thank you to everyone who likes and subscribes and leaves comments. Please do hit the subscribe button if you've enjoyed watching today. I will try and be better planned and less rambly next week. And until then, because I'm going, because the light's all gone weird and I'm wittering, have a great week, Stitchers. Bye.